So directors, we're now reached the start time for the meeting, and we'll call that meeting to order and proceed with election of chair for your committee. If I could receive nominations, please, for chair.
I'd like to nominate Director Cornfield.
Director Cornfield, would you accept that nomination?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there further nominations for chair position? For the third and last time, any nominations for chair? Hearing none, we'll declare Director Cornfield elected by acclamation for 2021. Thank you very much, and proceed with the election for the vice chair position. And again, if I could have nominations, please.
I'd like to nominate Julie Colburn.
Director Colburn, you'd be nominated. Would you accept that nomination? I don't know if she can hear us.
I think that ding was
Hi,
accepted.
yeah, I'm still here.
Director Colburn, are you okay?
I'm still here, and I would prefer not. No, I do not let my name stand. Thank you for the vote.
Thank you very much.
I also voted for vice chair for Martin Davis in the chat, so that's just because he was nominating me.
Okay, thank you very much. Director Davis, would you accept that nomination as vice chair?
Yes, I would.
Thank you very much. Are there further nominations for vice chair? Not hearing any further nominations, we'll declare Director Davis elected by acclamation as vice chair. Thank you very much. And now turn over the meeting to your new chair, Director Cornfield. Thank you.
Thank you to you both.
No, thank you everyone for your vote of confidence, and thanks Martin for coming on as staying as vice chair. Look forward to working closely with you on and with the rest of the committee on what I consider is one of our top priorities. So we do have a quorum, and we've elected the chair and the vice chair. So adoption of the agenda, please.
I'll move that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Director Davis. Any discussion? Seeing none, any opposed? Motion carries. Adoption of the minutes of October 21st, 2020.
I'll move. No, I can't. I wasn't there, so leave it someone else.
I'll move adoption.
Thank you. Second, Director Moglove. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none. Any opposed? Motion carries. Business arising. Any directors have or staff have anything from the minutes of the previous meeting? Seeing none, we will carry on. Nothing on the chair to report other than, well, we'll carry on with the next staff reports. Item 1, Cayuga Teclisit First Nation on the regional board, and a motion to receive the report from the CAO.
So moved.
Thank you, Director Kerr. Second by?
I'll second it.
Director Moglove. So discussion on the CAO's report.
So, Mr. Chair, if I can just chime in a little bit here.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. So we got a few things that kind of blend into each other, and kind of called this meeting because first, we've had a pretty quiet year in a lot of the committee meetings because of COVID, obviously. but we have a lot of things, exciting things happening, especially as they relate to the First Nations Relations Committee. So, you know, our hope is that we change the terms of reference for the committee that allows us to deal with a lot more things. And one of those is we're going to have the First Nation join the Kayukit-Checklisset First Nation join by April 1st this term. So a number of things are happening, and the first is just a report that tomorrow, I guess it's tomorrow, we are going to have another workshop with the First Nation. Again, I would characterize it as a relationship building, getting to know each other, understanding governance of each other, and there'll be presentations from the First Nation, and it will be hosted by a consultant that both the regional district and the First Nation has been working with, appointed by the province and ministry staff. And again, my hope is that the board will take a lot of the matters now that we're kind of coming out of, I don't know if that's the right word, coming out of COVID, but reestablishing the committee, reestablishing the terms of reference, and you'll see in the next report having staff to help support the committee. So that's my little introduction.
Okay. Any questions from directors of the CAO? Did you say, Dave, if no one else is going to lead off, the terms of reference were changed?
So we did that. I guess we're going to have to say those were 219, I believe. I'm going to just write off 220 that nothing happened, but I think the terms of reference, we changed them in 2019, which allowed us, also the board approved the position of a half-time First Nations Relations coordinator. Yeah. So we were all geared up, and then COVID hit. We had a freeze on hiring positions, and we didn't meet as regularly as we would. So, but that terms of reference that we changed enables a lot more liberty for things for the First Nations Relations Committee to deal with.
So rather than just strictly making recommendations to the board, there's actual action items that we can carry on with?
Yeah, I think ultimately, you know, all the committees still make recommendations to the board, but in the first terms of reference, we're quite limited in what we can do. And I think the committee had a lot of things that they wanted to get done, and without an expanded terms of reference, there wasn't a need for that. And hiring somebody with such a limited terms of reference, there was really no purpose to that. So we've got a lot of that sorted out, and coincidentally, we have a First Nations joining the regional district, so timing is excellent here, and so pretty exciting.
Yes, and as we should be. So if there's no further questions of the CAO on receipt.
I have a question just for our meeting tomorrow, if I may.
Yeah.
We'll probably do a roundtable, but I'm just wondering, has there been a change in their government, in the legislative chief position?
Their CAO is the same, and I
Cynthia Blackstone?
Yeah, she's still the same. Now, in our meetings with the province and the band, Cynthia has been there represented with a few council members, and Renee and Tom are there. The chief has not been there, and I do know they have a newly elected chief, so I'm anticipating that person will be in our meeting tomorrow, but I have not met him or her myself.
Yes, that's my understanding, Dave, is that all of the members of the KCF legislature will be there, participating rather remotely, as well as Kevin still holds a position. I'm not sure exactly that has changed or not.
I think he's a council member now, I think.
Yeah. Legislative member.
That will all come clear.
Thank you.
I think when the introductions are done. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. I was just curious more than anything. That's all. I'm just wondering who was legislative chief out there.
One other thing, if I could, the invitation that went to for tomorrow's meeting of Committee of the Whole did list all of the invitees and their titles. So if you have a chance to look at that email and just expand the distribution list, you should be able to get a pretty good idea as to who's who, if you will.
Okay. And
Fantastic. Thanks, Tom.
that would be really good, Tom. Would you mind sending it out again in preparation for tomorrow's meeting? Especially, you had sent out a protocol on titles and positions once before. On what terms are used, like as Julie said, legislative member versus councillor.
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
And I think that would be important to get it distributed to anyone if we could later today sometime.
Sure. See how late the board goes.
Yeah, well, hopefully not late. Anyway, if there's nothing further on receipt, anyone opposed? Hearing nothing, motion carries. First Nations coordinator position, receipt of the CAO, the status update. Motion to receive.
So moved.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Director Colburn, for second, and turn the floor over to you, David.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So not to steamroll everything here, but I'll do a 2-for-1 in terms of our First Nations coordinator. One thing that inhibited us, amongst others, of hiring that position is we had nobody to manage it. And I'm not sure if all the board members have met Renee, but Renee's on the call. I'm not sure if we got her emoji or her face, but Renee Laboucaine is our manager of strategic initiatives. She started here a few months ago now, and one of her first tasks was to post out the position for the First Nations Relations Coordinator. And I'll just let her finish up on the status of that so she can introduce herself.
Good morning, everyone. As Dave mentioned, we finalized the job description and began circulating that in December with a closing date in mid-January. We have since received a number of applications and are shortlisting, and we'll be following up with interviews late next week. So as that process evolves, we hope to have someone starting early March or end of February for that position so that we can advance some of the efforts of this the committee and its work plan.
So just to follow up on that as well, just for the committee's knowledge, that we reached out to all First Nations across the SRD and made them aware of the posting of the position. And so that if there was any interest from a First Nations individual, that opportunity was made aware to them. So, and the good news with that now, obviously we'll have a couple staff members that can help support the work of this committee. So looking great.
Okay, questions? Directors? And did we get any First Nations people applying from any of the, or as a result of the distribution? Dave?
I don't know. Renee will have to answer that.
Yes, we did.
Ah, good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Hopefully some promising ones. That should be,
yeah.
I think, is a really good step in the right direction.
Yeah, we do too. It's exciting.
Yep. Okay, any other questions or discussion? Seeing none on receipt. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The 2021 schedule of meetings. Motion to receive the CAO's report.
Move receipt.
Move receipt.
Thank you. We'll Tom can decide who seconded it. There was 2, which is good. Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I never want to take an opportunity away from Tom to receive comments from the committees on the board on the schedule. I know it's his favorite thing. So
It is absolutely.
and this is the annual opportunity to take shots at Tom over the schedule. So feel free. There's quite a large liberty here of what we can chat about here.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'm going to open up the report and display the calendar that is proposed. And just go down here so we can see what we're talking about. Is that big enough for you to see on your screens?
Yeah, that's good.
So, Mr. Chairman, we are showing monthly meetings for the First Nations Relations Committee, coinciding with the second board meeting each month, with the exception of the summer months, for which there is but a single board meeting, and those have already been taken by the Electoral Area Services Committee and the Strathcona Gardens. If the First Nations Committee felt there was a need to meet over the summer, that's certainly doable. And we do have the technology now for remote participation, so it's not as significant a challenge to gather people together when they don't have to travel. So we do leave that open to this committee. If you decide now or later on that you're going to require meetings over the summer, then the opportunity still exists for you to do that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Yates. Mr. Leach, anything further?
Well, if nobody's going to say anything to Tom, I'm just going to say I'm a little disappointed about that, but no, I don't have anything to say.
Any, Ron, I see your Director Kerr, I saw your light flashing. I don't see any hands anywhere.
No questions. You never know until that month, generally, if there's going to be conflicts, but no, it looks good to me.
Okay. I had one question, and I guess we had planned initially to have a meeting in Cayucot.
Yes.
Which I still think is an important step that needs to be taken so that people it's the way to really establish relationships is when you can go to their place of doing business, their residence, and their traditional territory. And I know that we're restricted considerably through the COVID measures, and Lord knows where we'll be during the summer. But is that something that the committee had talked about? I know we had talked about it before and about having a board meeting, but is this something that the committee would be interested in doing?
Well, I think, Mr. Chair, if I can just chime in here first,
yep.
It's still on the radar, and funny enough, just yesterday I got an email from the province asking about, are we interested in another extension? We got some money from the province to hold the C2C.
Yep.
Now, obviously, COVID happened, and it's tough to figure out what's going to be going on in the summer, but I'm still maintaining the desire to hold something. It's obviously a fluid situation because who knows when we can. The summer may be an opportunity. The First Nation will have joined by then, so I think all the stars align up for us to continue doing that. And I just think COVID is just going to be the thing that interrupts that, or we'll keep postponing or looking for dates until that. But summer could be a great opportunity for that. I know I've gone out with Director Wally every summer. I know Director Colburn goes out there. So I would say if the committee's interested, we'll keep kind of looking at opportunities for the summer.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking I knew about the board meeting and the C2C funding that we had, but there is potentially an opportunity for a smaller group. It's easier to put everybody's schedules together.
Yeah.
maybe the First Nations Relations Committee, and maybe that's something that can get assigned to the coordinator position when it's filled.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only thing I had on schedule of meetings that, potentially summer could be a trip.
Yeah.
I believe Director Davis has a question.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Yeah,
Go
thanks,
ahead,
Tom.
Director
Thanks, Chair.
Davis.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, I would certainly be open to a trip out there, but we definitely want to consult with them first and make sure they're comfortable.
yeah. Oh, you're muted again, Martin.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It's self-muting. I'd be happy to do a trip out there, but obviously we should consult with them first and make sure they're comfortable with that. We may want to consider next summer, just maybe the COVID thing will be sorted by then. We can all cross our fingers and hope, but it might be a little bit risky to the community for us to be doing that at this point. So that's my feeling about that. I also wanted to note, I see that there's no meeting in September, but maybe we don't need it. But I also hope that when we have this coordinator position filled, that it generates more content for our meeting. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely will. That's the intent.
Good. Anything? Oh, Julie, Director Colburn, your hand's up.
Yeah, as far as I know, they've extended their lockdown till at least February 5th, so we'll see where it goes with that. They are on lockdown right now and are doing food distribution to their members. So insider info, that's what I can tell you.
Yeah, no, I think any short term, that is less than 6 months, is not going to happen. But to at least gear up and have discussion, as Director Davis says, it's the consultation process which would occur, and I'm assuming it would even happen at a board meeting where you're talking with the nation itself and their legislature. So all of those things are good things, and they'll all happen in their time. It's just to see just to bring me up to speed on what had been looked at in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's nothing further on the schedule, call a question on receipt.
Move receipt.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Director Davis. If there's no one opposed, motion carries. Item through 3B, that the 2021 meeting calendar of the First Nations Relations Committee be approved.
So moved.
Thank you, Director Colburn, seconded by
Second.
Director Davis. Any discussion on the calendar? Is there anyone opposed? Saying nothing, motion carries. Nothing under bylaws, correspondence, director's report. Anyone have any new business? Just under that, maybe I can ask Director Davis, there was one of the hereditary chiefs from the Mushlet Mowachat just passed away.
Yeah, Chief Norman George. That was a few months ago.
Yeah. Did we as the regional district or First Nations Relations send any condolences or acknowledgement?
I didn't direct anything at that point, although I did attend the memorial service myself as Emeritus. So if the regional district would like to entertain something, that would be wonderful too.
I would say from our perspective, I know there was a few passings in 2020, and we sent out letters or acknowledgement of it. But Tom, I'm not sure of the specifics, but I know we sent a couple out.
Yeah, I would have to check to see, I agree. I think there was recognition of some kind. I'm not sure exactly what form that took.
Okay. Maybe that could be put on as a topic on,
Sure, I'll have Renee
next
can
meeting.
double check there, yeah.
okay.
Thanks.
Anything else under new business? No addendum items, no closed session. Get down to item Q.
Move termination.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on termination?
Looking
there
forward to it.
Is there anyone opposed? And the motion carries. And